So hi there again everyone, this is again Alan and welcome back to my watercolor channel. Today in this video, we are gonna be having a closer look at the Sakura Mat Watercolors from Japan. Our Sakura Mat Watercolors were kindly sent to me by an anonymous subscriber from Japan. So to you, my friend, thank you very much. And also she sent these along with the Koi watercolors, which we are gonna be reviewing next. And by the way, what we have here is the Sakura Mat Watercolors, 18 colors, 5 ml each. And by the way, Sakura Color Products Corporation is a Japanese arts and office supplies company based in Osaka. According to their website, Sakura Mat Watercolors are semi-transparent watercolors. And also according to them, you can adjust the transparency or opacity of the paints with water, of course. I also saw the tags hobby, art, and school. So this gives me the impression that these paints are school-grade paints. They also mentioned that they are using plastic tubes instead of aluminum to avoid cracks and punctures. Based on their chart, they have 26 colors, but the sets are limited only to 12, 15, 18, and 24 tubes. The silver and gold colors are only available in their 15 tube set. Aside from their 5 ml sets, they also have 12 ml sets. Currently, this set of 18 colors, 5 ml each, is priced at 648 Philippine pesos, or roughly $12 here in the Philippines, while the 12 ml set of 18 colors is $16 or roughly 909 Philippine pesos. If you're buying this from Japan, of course, it's gonna be a lot cheaper. I saw at Amazon US there's a 12 color set, 5 ml each, for $10. I'm not sure if the other sets are available. Anyway, I'm gonna be putting all the useful links, including the website, at the description box for your easy access. So now let's check out our box, but first, of course, let's remove the cellophane. So, yes. So now here's our box, and in front we have here some Japanese characters. We have here the Sakura logo, 18 colors, Sakura Mat Watercolors, and we have here a sample of how the tubes look like. And yep, everything is in Japanese already. Now let's check out our tubes. So here now are our tubes. And here we have some information in Japanese. It says here Sakura Color Products Corporation. We have here their telephone number and also their website. And we can use Google Translate to translate these characters or information. But yeah, we see here the AP logo, so it conforms to the standards. And I think these are the color names for the swatches. So now let's check out an individual tube. The tubes are made out of plastic, according to them, to avoid punctures and cracks. And also I think it's safer for the children to use plastic tubes to avoid scratches. Anyway, in here you'll find the color swatch, the logo, the color name, brown, and the number code says here Sakura Mat Watercolors, Japan. So Sakura Mat Watercolors. And we don't have any other information. Says here 5 ml. We don't have the pigment code, transparency rating, and all that. Now for swatches and sample painting, I'm using, as always, Arches 185 cold pressed cotton paper. And for my brushes, I'm using my Fumui brush and also my Kolinsky Nevskaya Palitra flat brush. So I am gonna be swatching them directly from the tubes. First color is lemon yellow. It's bright and it looks standard. I think it's transparent. For chrome yellow, we have here some binder pigment separation issue. Chrome yellow is their warm yellow in this set and it's semi-transparent. So another binder pigment separation issue. So in cases like this, you need the help of a needle. You can stir from the inside so that you can mix the pigment and the binder. Light orange obviously is a mixture of white and orange pigments, so it's more on the opaque side. Vermilion is a nice warm red and it's semi-transparent also. Their red thankfully, is a beautiful rose color, so it balances the warm red we have here in vermilion. Now this color, I can say I really love it. Their purple reminds me so much of the genuine manganese violet pigment. It's a lot warmer and pinker in person, in actual. Now their ultramarine, I'm glad that it looks ultramarine. It doesn't granulate that very obviously, but I can see the character there, so I'm happy. Now for their version of cobalt blue, I can say I'm happy about this. It looks very cobalt blue. Although I know, of course, this is not PB28 because this is more of a student grade paints. Now another binder pigment separation issue for cerulean blue. And just like their cobalt blue, cerulean blue is also a nice imitation of the original PG35, I must say. So yeah, they're doing great in imitating the hues well. Their Prussian blue is also very nice. It's so smooth and deep, very standard in hue. Now their Viridian, for some reason, obviously looks like it has white in it, but also looks standard in color. Now their deep green is a beautiful dark green color. It reminds me so much of the PG8 green or the Hooker's green. Yellow green looks standard. I'm not really a fan of this color, but yeah, it's bright and nice. Yellow ochre looks also standard and also it's semi-opaque. Their brown looks like a burnt sienna and also it's semi-transparent. This Van Dyke brown is also nice, but it looks like a burnt umber. Their black is black. It's deep. And lastly, we have here white, and I think it's the most opaque color here as expected. Now, while we are waiting for our swatches to dry, let's now proceed to our sample painting. And for the colors, I've selected only 5. I have here Prussian blue, red, chrome yellow, deep green, and Van Dyke brown. I'm gonna be shortening this process through clips, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment it below. So, let's go! So now our swatches and sample painting are finally dry. Let's now have a closer look. So now let's do our review. First is our color selection. We have 2 yellows, 2 reds, 4 blues, 3 greens, and 3 earth colors, a black and a white. For me, this color selection could really work because we have split primaries. But yeah, although there are 4 blues, I think that's a lot. But these four blues are for me essential and they look different, so it could work for me. But I'd be happier to have a mid-red or maybe a maroon or a Venetian red, some sort of yeah, a mid-red. I could omit yellow green because I'm not a fan of it, but to others this is going to be helpful, so yeah. Second is vibrancy. I think the vibrancy is good. I think they're very striking. The colors are alive. Now when it comes to transparency, I think they're generally semi-transparent or semi-opaque, and I think that they made that clear in their website. I see that there's a thin film of sort of white that covers all the colors. That could possibly be a brightener, I'm not sure. Now for pigment load I don't think it's high, but since the vibrancy is the one that's very high, color payoff is regained. Flocculation is very evident in purple, in Prussian blue, in deep green, and also in cobalt blue, and I think it's also present in black and Van Dyke brown, and also in brown, almost in all the colors. But the flocculation is just so mild as compared to the Sakura pocket filled sketch box. For those who do not know, flocculation is, for me, it's a kind of granulation. Flocculation is the attraction of small groups of pigments or particles that form patterns. Granulation is the appearance of, you know, the particles of the pigments, maybe due to the paper texture or the processing of the pigments, something like that. But it's complicated and it's not easy to explain for me. But yeah, there's obviously flocculation in these paints, but thankfully it's not very evident. It's not very strong as compared to the flocculation of the pocket filled sketch box before. That made me really disappointed. I'm not really a huge fan of flocculation. I prefer granulation. Now when it comes to movement, no, I don't think they move that much, which is fine to me because I want helping my paints. Now I think the best quality of these paints is that they spread so smoothly and so evenly. So as you can see in our sky part here, it really spread evenly. Although I did not put my blue on equal parts, it spread evenly. It's just so nice, and it's the same case for my pinks here, and you can see it in our swatches. Let me show it closer. So yeah, you know, it's not really difficult to achieve smooth and flat washes through these paints. And now to see how well the paints adhere on paper, let's rub a sheet of napkin, and if we get traces of pigments and colors, that could be a sign that these paints are chalky and of course they're not adhering well on paper. So I think we have some very light or thin traces of colors, but that's passable. It's not very obvious. And for why it is called matte, I think it's because it's literally matte. No gloss or sheen at all. And I think it's obviously because of that thin layer of white film. We will see in our next review if the koi tubes are gonna be the opposite of this matte version. And now for our favorite portion, we are now in our comparison part. And for that, let's begin with a set of paints that are, I think, less performing as compared to the Sakura Mat Watercolors. So let's begin with the Best Buy watercolors. We also have the Simbalayon, the Dong A Creative, the Jovi Aquarella. You have the Faber-Castell solid watercolors, the Sterling Arts watercolors, the Sakura Koi Pocket Filled Sketchbox. This is the sister of Sakura Mat Watercolors. This is made in China. This is made in Japan. Now here is the obvious flocculation example. You can see it in almost all of the colors. And yeah, it's just terrible here. You also have the Giorgione watercolor cakes, the Reeves watercolors, the Magiwap Basics watercolors, the Montmartre Two Seasons, the Maris watercolors in pans, the Maris watercolors in tubes, the Faber-Castell in tubes. Also have the Pentel watercolors fine. You also have the Art Ranger watercolors, the Berkeley watercolors, the Pebeo Studio watercolors. You also have the Lefranc and Bourgeois Louvre watercolors. You have the Prang 2007 and the Prang 2019. Yes, I prefer the Sakura Mat Watercolors. I think the colors are more vibrant, and when it comes to transparency, they're just the same. Renaissance Watercolors. Now, I think the most comparable set is the Semi Art Solid Watercolors 50s. I think they're almost the same vibrancy. Yeah, very comparable, and even the transparency is also very much the same. Now, flocculation is also present in some of the colors in Semi Art, but if I had to choose, I might choose Semi Art Solid Watercolors because of its good pricing. Now, our next group are the student grade paints that are, I think, better performing as compared to the Sakura Mat Watercolors. Let's begin with the Superior Foldable. You also have the Superior Fan Palette. Then we have the Semi Arts Arch, the Superior Watercolors. We also have the Semi Art Semi-Dry Watercolors, the Kuretake Gansai Tambi, the Owen Watercolor Cakes. We also have the Owen Watercolors in metal case. We also have the Koh-i-Noor Anilinki Brilliant Watercolors. Then we have the Pelican Transparent. But they're also very comparable. Yeah, texture-wise and transparency-wise. We also have the Miya Solid Watercolors, the Pretty Excellent Watercolors, the Winsor & Newton China, the Good Sai Chinese Painting Pigments, the Mill-Yang Watercolors 52 color set, the Kiaomei Watercolors. Then we also have, of course, the Grimbacher Academy. We also have the Sonic Watercolors, the Winsor & Newton Cotman, and the Van Gogh Watercolor paints. Now, our last group of paints are our professional grade paints, and of course, these are better performing as compared to the Sakura Mat Watercolors, which are for me school grade paints. So, let's begin with the Brustro Artist Watercolors. We also have the Lucas Aquarel 1862. We also have the Prima Marketing Tropicals, the Mungyo Professional Watercolors, the Kokuyo Kamlin Watercolors, the Wichitrong by Silpahorn. We also have the Viburnum Art Professional Watercolors, the Paul Rubens Watercolors, the Paul Rubens Floral Set in tubes, the Paul Rubens 4th Generation, the Isaro Extra Fine Watercolors. We also have the Blux Extra Fine Watercolors. Now we have the Utrecht Watercolors. We also have the Rembrandt, the A Gallo from Italy, and we have the Core Watercolors. We also have, of course, the White Knights Watercolor paints. We also have the Winsor & Newton Professional. We also have, of course, the Holbein Watercolor paints. We have the Mission Gold Pure Pigment Set, the Schminke Horadam Watercolors, and of course, the Daniel Smith Watercolor paints. So now, my final verdict, if you are to ask me, would I recommend the Sakura Mat Watercolors? My answer is yes, if you are a student who is in need of a decent watercolor set for school projects maybe. But if you live outside Japan or outside Asia, the price of these paints could go double or even triple. And so if that's gonna be the case, you better get some other superior sets. What are those sets? Please go back to the comparison portion. You have a lot of options. The paints are decently vibrant, and my favorite quality of these set is that they spread very evenly. So for school use, this will really serve you well. But if you are an advanced learner or really a watercolor enthusiast, or much more, if you're a professional artist, I really suggest you to get better sets or, of course, professional grade paints. So that is my honest review of the Sakura Mat Watercolors. Again, to our friend from Japan who sent these paints, thank you so much for sending these to us for us to review it. And now I really can't wait to review our next set from Japan, the Koi Watercolor set. So I think that's all for our Sakura Mat Watercolors review. If you have any questions, suggestions, recommendations, or stories about these paints, please do let us know at the comment section. Please share it. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to like and share this video. Of course, please subscribe to my channel to show support. And if you want to get updates of our future content, please don't forget to subscribe. Again, this has been Alan, thanking you for reaching this far. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye-bye!